We've got some exciting new game announcements, a record broken, and some troubling legal disputes, all right here for you on your Tabletop Gaming News Roundup for the week of March 11th, 2019.
Modiphius, known for their miniature and RPG games, has announced a new standalone RPG expansion for their Fallout miniature series called Fallout Wasteland Warfare. This is actually going to be a book where you can roleplay in the Fallout universe, either with their miniature games and to expand on that, or as a standalone RPG-style product for a GM and up to 6 players. First time I think of an RPG having a player count limit, which is probably good. This will allow you to make your own characters, either relive some of the Fallout stories or make your own, and will actually include a digital code for the weapon cards and character cards that may include it in the sort of miniatures game, just so if you don't have to buy all those and you just want to have the basic RPG style gameplay in the Fallout world. I think this is a fantastic idea. I mean, Fallout is it's a role-playing game in essence.
I know, Fantasy Flight has put out the Fallout board game, and then Modiphius, as you said, put out the miniatures game.
Which we did play, and I did enjoy playing, but it's a miniatures game. Very heavy, and also, if you're not willing to pay miniatures and all that stuff, it's a lot to invest in.
And I know every time these games have come out, you always said, but why don't they just make it an RPG? And so they did.
Yeah.
So what are your hopes and dreams for this thing?
I mean, I think a lot of it's already there. The book that lets you make your own characters and they can help you follow the stories or make your own stories. If you like playing with miniatures in your role-playing games, they have a whole line there.
That's
You're
pretty cool.
set. You don't have to make a Lego figure or something. I feel like it's hard to ask for more for this kind of thing, especially if you've been burned by 76, This is we're sorry.
Yeah. I mean, now, do you think this is always the question when these things come out is, would you rather be the GM or a player?
That's a tough choice.
I was thinking maybe you might want to be the GM.
Yeah, because
you've played the games.
I've played and gone through a lot of the lore, yeah. So I think in this case, and also, I think as someone who has had my own, I don't think I've said on this video or anything really big publicly, but I've had my Eclipse of 76. I think this is the place put up or shut up. You think you can do a good story in the Fallout universe? Here you go.
Yeah, you don't like what we put out for you? Make it yourself.
But I would love to take the chance to GM this kind of universe. I think it'd be really cool, and I do think I have learned some lessons in doing something in sort of the real world-ish when we did the Fantasy Flight game. Learning in particular with some very issues with people who might know the area. So I think I've learned some good lessons that I would be very excited to try this out in that kind of thing. And obviously I would fudge some things because I think only one other person can call me out on exact Fallout details.
In our group, you mean?
Yes.
Only one person in this world.
But I think because it's an RPG, people, even if you were a heavy fan, you would be allowed to do that if it was worth it. Like, for example, New York shouldn't exist. I say that because 76 retconned some stuff too, so I don't know if that was retconned yet. But if you want to do something, that would be a really cool post-apocalyptic area, So I think that this is overall going to be great. I think later this year, they said, I think it was summer, if I recall, and I'm going to be hopefully looking forward to it. I'm sure there'll be some special collector's edition stuff. I mean, it's fun. So hopefully this could help make you feel a bit better about the series after its recent fallings.
Quirky Circuits is a brand new title that was just announced by Plaid Hat Games. This is coming from designer Nikki Valens, and it is a programming game in which all players will be working together controlling one robot. That robot is going to have a series of different tasks depending on which scenario that you've chosen, and each robot has its own special quirks that may come into play, hence the name Quirky Circuits. Basically, this one is a mix of a programming game with a Hanabi-style blind element where each player is playing cards from their hands to control the movements of the robot, but you don't know what they're playing and you're not allowed to discuss it. All that you know is from the back of the card, you'll know that maybe you're seeing that they're moving ahead in a straight line, you'll know that they're turning in a certain direction, but you as players can place as many cards as you wish. So player one might really think they have the the first 3 moves of the turn planned out, and they put those cards down. And everyone else just has to deal with that. You're not allowed to discuss your strategies or anything. Then you flip them over simultaneously and see where everybody went. It sounded similar also to the Tasty Minstrel game Bomb Squad that we've played recently, which it's not that recently anymore, actually. It's probably like a year or 2 ago. But it's a similar kind of thing.
I was thinking also Space Alert.
Definitely Space Alert vibe, very
that
much
kind
so.
of stuff. And I do like that because it does leave for some really sort of funny moments. You're just like, all right, we're good. Why are you turning left? No,
Yeah, I think the twist that
and
you're
seeing
all...
the robot with the cat on top, it's very cute.
It has a cute little art style. The fact that you're all playing to one board and, like I said, you can interrupt each other adds to it. I was kind of surprised to hear that it's from Nikki Valens and Plaid Hat, who I think are both a designer and a publisher known for more thematic, story-driven games, and this really sounds like a straight-up programming game.
Part of it could be just to add that sort of, we want to have something different in our collection because those story games can be usually are bigger and also more pricier. So it's easier for this to be more of a smaller, lighter, like Crossfire, I think it was called, like part of this, which is in their universe, but...
Yeah, and even I think we may see in some of those scenarios, like a game like Ashes, Rise of the Phoenix Born, isn't like narrative heavy, but I think in the cards, there's some
There
cool
is a
stuff.
sort of narrative going on. I stopped a while ago getting all the stuff, but like they had things going on.
Yeah, so
and
we'll see.
Maybe this a whole new universe, or maybe this is in the Spectre universe, and the cat's actually a secret agent.
I think they should connect all of them. Just have a Plaid Hat Avengers, right?
Earlier this month, Critical Role started a Kickstarter to fund a animated series, 1 episode, based on their role-playing experiences titled Vox Machina. And it turns out people were really behind this. It has now broken the record for the most funded TV or movie product at $5.79 million, just beating Mystery Science Theater back at $5.76 million. There is a lot of money here, and now I think they've already said there's 4 episodes, possibly more, because this Kickstarter still has like over a month to go through. So plenty of time to get more money and hit more of those stretch goals. If you don't know, Critical Role started back in 2015. Very popular role-playing run by Matt Mercer. You may recognize him in a lot of voices he does. Some of my favorites being Crom from the Fire Emblem series, and also McCree, which gave him the very famous line of High Noon from Overwatch. And this has gone on. They've done like live plays, podcasts. There's so much. Everyone's really loved this. And I guess it's no surprise then that they made so much money, but it is incredible hit. Oh, the record of 5.79, that's a lot.
Yeah, and as you said, with so much time still left to go, this thing could easily hit like 10 million, which is crazy.
That would be hit. I don't know 10, but I definitely think 6 is very likely.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of the fun comes at the very beginning and end, that's why.
But I'm just thinking about that very end. If it like keeps the ratio that most Kickstarters
even
do.
if it gets half of what they got now at the end.
Yeah.
Because that still brings it up to like 7 or 8. That's crazy.
It is so much. It is really insane.
I mean, part of it is because they already have such great talent behind all the characters and GM. Throw into the fact, I think the idea of Dungeons & Dragons itself, it's telling a story. So in essence, we're funding a good story.
Yeah, it's shocking to me in a good way because I knew Critical Role was popular, but I never realized it was that popular. But I guess it's a similar thing, you mentioned Mystery Science Theater, where there's something about these kind of niche, nerdy kind of properties that people are just willing to, it turns out when you ask for help, there are a lot of them that really want to help. And I'm just looking forward to finding out how are they, they haven't announced how are they going to stream this, is it going to be TV?
They have said they are not sure about the distribution method, but Kickstarter backers will be the first to get it, obviously. I know that initially, Critical Role, they used to be part of, I think it was called like a Legendary stream. I'm mixing it up in my head, but now they're on like YouTube and stuff. Mm-hmm. The service that they were part of, Geek and Sundry. Mm-hmm. So I'd be really curious because with this much, you backed Mystery Science Theater.
That's true. I wear
And-
the shirt sometimes on this show.
They are now on Netflix.
Right. So I guess they kind of almost set that model up, it seems like, where you're funding the pilot, so to speak, and then we're going to try to get someone else to keep paying for it.
Well, and one of the big things about this is because when something like this makes that much money, while part of me is worried because sometimes with Kickstarters, if you make too much money, that's actually bad because you don't know what to do and stuff. But in this case, what could happen is because I think, let's say they get a total of 6 episodes, because I think possibly they said 2 more in stretch goals or something. If they do 6 episodes and obviously you want more story, Netflix is going to see this and be like, people want this.
Yeah.
It's not a simply pie and people are like, oh, we see a lot of talk on the internet. No, people put their money in it. They
Right.
know people are willing to put their wallet to support this.
Yeah, that helps. And hopefully the animation is cool. And yeah, like you said, you already know the story's in place. So should be
And I think they
something
do
worth
have
seeing.
some extra writers and stuff to help, polish up the story in terms of instead of changing maybe from just a dungeon campaign to really that final extra comments and lines that really make it a TV show worthy story. But hopefully they find a good distribution method and someone to pick them up for further, because that would be pretty awesome to once again see D&D continue to get more into the mainstream populace.
Age of Steam is a super popular train board game from back in the day, designed by well-known board game designer Martin Wallace. And Eagle Gryphon is just about to launch a brand new reprint of the game on Kickstarter, which is exciting for a lot of people that they can have this game in print with some new components, some new upgrades, as usually goes along with these reprints. However, everything is not hunky-dory in this story. Martin Wallace took to Board Game Geek's forums for Age of Steam just recently and made a post indicating his displeasure with the game, reminding people that he is not actually receiving any money from the sales of this product, and in fact, Eagle Gryphon is publishing it without his consent. This is actually a long-running thing. This stems back to years ago when Age of Steam was first published, and Martin Wallace had put it out with another guy named John Borer, and he then retained the rights to the game. His name was in the box, and there are reasons behind why he got the rights to it. He is the person who wrote out the rule book versus doing the design of it. You can see the back and forth between them and other people involved in the story over the years. It's all kind of very messy, but the bottom line is Martin Wallace lost the rights to the actual game itself. He went on to make other games, including a game just called Steam, which was kind of an evolution of Age of Steam, and has been displeased and made his displeasure known quite publicly about these games for a while now. There's even a post you can find if you search from Christian Peterson back in the day, talking about how there was a mediation, and there was another instance even more recently where Eagle Gryphon offered to let Martin Wallace have his name on the box and credit him, and he declined their offer. So as it stands right now, they're basically leaving his name out of it, as far as I know. Maybe it's in the rulebook somewhere, but it's not on the cover or anything. It's an unfortunate thing, and it's very messy, and to me, it's not exactly clear who is in the right. I think there's definitely things on both sides, and as always in these situations, it's kind of a he said, she said thing. But I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that we've talked about this with other legal issues before when it comes to board games, and the fact that mechanics are not copyrightable.
Right.
And so there's not much legal ground for someone to stand on in a situation like this. But man, it's a shame that this is happening. I don't know. What is your reaction to all this?
I mean, this is really interesting and crazy. When I initially heard about this, I was like, oh, Steam's coming to Kickstarter. Nothing to it. And then I looked at a Reddit thread, and then the first comment's like, here's this sum up of this legal I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, a lot going on. a lot going on.
And it's one of those things that's really weird. As you said, like, mechanics versus the rules and stuff, and like, sometimes I know, like, I don't know all the details as much as you did. You looked into this a bit more than I. Mm-hmm. And I know, like, with The Witcher's having something, and in that case, it's like, it feels more like the guy feels guilty that he didn't do the smart move and he just took the small upfront payment.
Mm-hmm.
in this, I don't know how that's like. I don't know whether he's just like, for example, you said to offer the name of like, no, I want a because he wants maybe a guaranteed 30% or something off each game, and I don't like.
I think what it boils down to is that Martin Wallace sounds like he, for whatever reason, I don't know if he was misled or just made a mistake, just ended up making kind of a poor business decision and letting the rights fall away from him. And so I don't know, legally it sounds like they're in the right, but it does feel just kind of wrong that a game that he designed, he is getting nothing from. But again, they reached out to him, so I don't know. It sounds like there's also some like personal politics at play.
Right. Do we know anything about the reaching out, or just
Eagle Griffin just posted a thing on Board Game Geek, again, a representative saying that they did so at a convention and that he just said that he had no interest in it and declined it. So
they didn't say like we offered to pay him in addition or anything like that?
As far as I know.
Because I can understand in his position if they said like, well, put your name on it,
I could be wrong, but I think that it was basically an honorary thing. Okay. We're gonna put your name and give you credit, but I don't think he was getting any money from it. So yeah, maybe that probably is.
I mean, you made it sound like that's a big deal to him, as you said that he's not making it. Yeah. Is he telling people not to back the game?
He, as far as I know, did not explicitly say that, but that certainly seems to be the implication that he was making people aware of this fact ahead of this new Kickstarter coming out. It's a bummer because maybe some people are conflicted in terms of, well, I want to support him, but also maybe this game is fun and you want a chance to play it. So it's just an unfortunate situation, but that's the kind of fun thing you get sometimes in these industries, especially this one. It seems like happens every now and then.
Of course, we can't let you go without letting you know what's come out this week. First off, we've got the Legendary expansion, Legendary Venom. There's also pre-orders for Pathfinder 2nd Edition, which is really cool that that's finally up. We had some discussions about the Venom expansion and actually thought there were maybe some better candidates for cards in there, but even though we probably aren't as familiar in Venom, and maybe someone could argue otherwise, but...
Yeah, there are some weird ones in there. You've got Venom-infected Rocket Raccoon and Doctor Strange. Mm-hmm. So if you're looking forward to playing as Venomized versions of them, that'll be in there. And as you said, Pathfinder... very curious. It's not coming out until August, but you can get those pre-orders in, and I think that has the potential to be very, very huge when that 2nd edition drops.
Yeah. But until then, let us know if you buy any of these games, or if you're going to back the 2 Kickstarters, whether it's the highly popular and celebrated Critical Role, or the a bit more dubious Age of Steam.
Yeah, talk to us in those comments. Find us on Twitter at Roll4Crit. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. And go to roll4crit.com. You can also send us a question that way. And we'll probably have a viewer comments section for you next week. So maybe ask us something you want us to talk about on there as well. Hey, who are you?
I believe I'm Will. Oh. And who are you?
I think I'm Jonathan.
And if I remember correctly, this has been Roll4Crit News.
Make sure you click the like and subscribe buttons so you get more board game content from Roll4Crit.
Do it. Do it now.